it's Lilly here at SiGMA Americas 2024. So happy to be here in Brazil, and I am joined by Helen Walton, the CCO of G.Games. Welcome, Helen. We had you at our WIG event yesterday. That's Women in Gaming.
Yeah, not false hair. I had a brilliant time. Thank you very much for having me. And I'm super excited to be in Sao Paulo, which is just a gorgeous city.
Yeah, it really is. And why don't you explain a little bit about your role and how did you get into the gaming space?
Oh, God, that's too long a story. It must have been sins in a former life. So I founded G.Gaming along with my business partners, Paul and Dan, 11 years ago, which feels like a life sentence. And we've been going strong. We now have a big portfolio of 200 games. We have lots more exciting content coming. We're working on multiplayer and battle and really cool, exciting things that honestly I think will be fantastic for the Brazilian market.
And what excites you about gaming? You're a gamer yourself. What was the kind of journey, the short journey?
The short journey. The simple answer is, at the time that we founded G, we believed that there was a real opportunity for real money games that were more casual, that felt more like the games everyone was playing on their phones. And my goodness, it has been a long journey of trying to get there. But I think today the work we are doing that combines video gaming and aiming at a demographic of players who think of themselves as video gamers first, even though they enjoy placing a bet on sport and maybe playing a slot as well, aiming games that really work for that demographic and that therefore are truly innovative compared to the traditional real money space. That's where we think the opportunity is, and that's what excites me.
Wow, very cool. And talking about the event yesterday, so trying to get more women into the gaming space, because it is a challenge. There's a few obstacles, it feels like, sometimes to get over. What's your best advice for a female trying to get into the space? How can we make it more inclusive?
I mean, that is, of course, a complex and long question. And you should, as a company, be breaking it down into thinking about how you do your recruitment, and not just in terms of asking for CVs, but also really investing at early stages. Our development engineers take time off their work and we pay them to go and do coding in schools and to work on, coding campaigns in university and hackathons in universities. And those are all important steps in investing in getting more women engineers and, more women into the industry that way. In general, I think I would say that the industry is professionalizing and learning in a way that is less exclusionary to women. And in the past, it did exclude women. It used to have quite a hard drinking culture. It required very late nights. And that does not always feel welcoming to women. So I think it's changing. I think it's professionalizing. I think it needs to do more. I think companies need to think intensively about their retention programs and how they retain and promote women, how they mentor them, how they have buddy systems in place. We work very hard on flexibility. We allow our staff to work where and when they want. That happens to work really well for parents, both men and women. We have extremely generous parental leave policies, and that's really important to retaining staff. And we also allow staff to work part-time as well as full-time, and we give large amounts of holiday. I mean, flexibility, I think, is key. And I also believe that really the gaming industry is reflecting what's going on in the rest of our society. So the motherhood penalty exists in other industries. It's not as if the gaming industry is unique to that. And trying to tackle it, and as women in senior positions, remembering how difficult it was for you and making sure you don't pass that on and make sure you make it easier for each new generation of female leaders.
Yeah, because there was something I think you mentioned yesterday on the panel, just about how it's not just taking on like university graduates, it's actually, fully giving people the experience where they can get into the space and you don't feel worried about trying to join.
Honestly, I would say that one of the things the gambling industry is very good at is socioeconomic diversity. And that's partly because we've never traditionally required graduates in this industry. We encourage people who come through the shop floor, who've worked as casino dealers or who've worked in customer service in online and, people who've worked in sports betting shops. That is fantastic. We shouldn't lose that. Indeed, I would like to see us offering more formal apprenticeships, more vocational training and bringing more people in that way. I think it's crucial because when you're designing product, any product, not just games, you need a diverse group of people to appeal to the diverse group of customers that you are trying to serve. Otherwise, you end up excluding and patronizing without intending to.
I completely agree. I think sometimes we get so pigeonholed into how can we make the best product. We don't actually look at the bigger picture, which is our user base, which is extremely diverse.
Well, it's just like if you have European game studios thinking that they can design a Chinese game by putting a dragon on it. You know, that might be really great for people who like Chinese themes in Europe, but you can't pretend that it's an authentic gaming experience. And I see some of my competitors doing fantastic work where they're hiring really good, local, well-known artists to develop content that works properly for the market. I hold my hands up and say we're not as good as we should be.
No, but everyone, we go on this journey together. We're always learning. And I think it's just making sure that when we travel as well, that being here in Sao Paulo, it's a completely different market. And you have to, as you said, really appreciate that and not stop yourself.
I mean, honestly, I think some of the game innovations that will succeed in Brazil, we've already seen how some of the games that have migrated from the crypto world, which traditionally have a much younger audience, are doing particularly well in Brazil. And that's because they don't have a heritage of having come to slots through land-based. And I think it's taken a bit of a time for suppliers to realise that they should be properly following the market, and indeed I hope eventually leading the market by deliberately designing games for that demographic.
For sure, Helen. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for coming to our amazing event yesterday as well. I think we're really going to try and push to create a community of women in gaming across the world.
Listen, I think the female gaming networks are some of the most valuable. I absolutely take my hat off to people like Kelly, who created All in Diversity and the CCO's gaming group. These are really useful networks. They provide mentoring opportunities, and they also allow us to pay it forward.
Yeah, super exciting what's happening in the space. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I can't wait. Bye.